Hello, and welcome to a quick overview of a level I created for this Scream Forever 2025 game jam that occurred during June. Now, the idea we had for this game that we were making was a Call of Duty Zombies-esque boomer shooter. This was the enemy that we would be having chase the player throughout this level. This was meant to be a wave-based survival boomer shooter. The theme for this game jam was again and again and again. So we planned having a repeating wave system. My idea going into this was to create a Victorian-esque manor that, whilst the first level, the first room that you enter, looks very put together, all this set dressing, make sure everything looks clean, tidy, and in its place, while still capturing that darker aesthetic that obscures the enemy just enough that it plays more on the psychological horror fact that you put into your own mind what this creature actually looks like without getting up close and really being able to pick apart the exact details of the monster. Now, coming through the first door on the left here, you're greeted with two walkways. Coming over here, you get given a small sightline towards further into the room, which will direct the player into thinking, how can they get over there and what other things can they discover? Now, from this point, there are two main directions that the player can go, giving the player a little bit of freedom, making them feel like they have that access and that ability to go their own way, giving them two pathways, the red path and the white path. Now, either of these pathways gives them the same loop, but gives them that freedom of choice so they feel independent. If they had to follow the red path, they are greeted with another room that shows a little bit more destruction in this Victorian Manor. Some of the paintings are out of whack, off center, and looking a little bit trashed, for lack of better words. You can see some bookcases here have been toppled over, some desk space over here that's been turned over, and some miscellaneous props that are put around in order to fill the dead space, the white space of this room. I had about 2 days to work on this level, so some things were put together quite quickly. But coming into this room then is more of a sitting room. Now, originally I designed all these rooms very put together, and then after the fact I'll go through and move things around, topple furniture over, and create these little set pieces here. So all of the ingredients for this can be put back, and you can feasibly make up in your mind what this would look like if it wasn't ruined and messy. You can see over here we've got a little smoking area, a little private talking booth, and behind it we have some more miscellaneous prop pieces. All of these more so just to create that illusion and sort of mental picture of a little bit of environmental storytelling. Going back in through this room, you can see we come into more of a storage area, showing that there are some bits and pieces here and there where things have been stored, things have been broken, things are no longer as they once were. Coming through this room, you get a little bit more put together, a dining room, but as you can see here, one of the bookcases have been toppled over, a couple of the wardrobes are off place, one of the chairs are even thrown down, giving that very messy appeal. Then we come into the main room here with the staircase, which you did previously see through this little gap here. So the player's decision of going down the red path will lead them eventually to this choice where they get to come into this main room and discover what they were looking at. If the player was to follow the other pathway and go down the white path, they'd come to another little room in our long hallway section that's partitioned off in order to break that monotonous straight line run and give them a little bit of movement they need to get around before coming to this main stairway, which is the main set piece for this level. Coming up these stairs, you can see we have a little bridgeway here, just to add that little bit more verticality to the level and a little bit more interest, giving them sight lines into other rooms, allowing them to really take in the space. Now, most of these rooms are kind of put together. Some of them are a lot more messy and trashed than some others. You can see the general vibe that was going down for most of these rooms. I've tried to make sure these rooms mimic rooms that would have some form of purpose. I was working with a very limited asset package here, so there will be some repeating objects, but as you can see, these bookshelves, I've changed around what you see within the bookshelf just enough where you can pick apart it is the same bookshelf, but they don't always look the same, so you're never looking at the same thing too many times. See, I'm using a mirror here in place of a little drawing board that I've scaled up a little bit. Now we use decimate on quite a few of these assets in order to bring down the quality and go for a more of a early PlayStation console vibe and look. We have one long hallway stretch here, which is just that one moment where the player can really move around, really get into these places and get a sense of the scale of this building. This is a dead end over here, just in case the player is to be chased by these creatures. They turn right down here and go down to the end. They'll find themselves in a little bit of a panic, knowing that there's now no escape and they have to fight their way back through these enemies to get back into one of these rooms. You can see we've got some bedrooms, which gives that illusion to sort of structure within this house that there is a lot of rooms that actually have purpose and someone could realistically see themselves living here. I've removed the doors just for a gameplay aspect, so it's a little bit easier to get around these rooms. You can see that a lot of these rooms, they do have a flow and a process to them. The bedrooms having an ensuite, going into more of an office space, going into more of a dressing room, going into more of a lounging reading room, going into this bridge room. And then you can see it more so repeats over here. We've got more of a lounging study room, and then a large meeting room, and then back round into the other bedroom into a ensuite. This main roofing section here, if I was able to have a little bit more time, I would want to be placing like quite a large moon asset with some good lighting that brings in some god rays and some ambient moon lighting effects that really brings this all together. But that's about it for this level. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope all questions that you could have been answered. Thank you so much.